guys? Welcome back to This Is The Way. My name is Kyle, your host as always. We got Grogu here, we got the Project Potter hat, we got This Is The Way. What did I just watch, dude? What did I just watch? This is Luke Skywalker, and this is not a scene from Return of the Jedi. This is a scene from The Mandalorian Season 2 finale. My brain is in pieces, guys. I don't even know what I just watched. It's the coolest thing I think I've ever seen. This I think is 1 and 1A with the Vader scene from Rogue One, with the coolest Star Wars sequence that has ever been created. Much more on that later, but welcome to episode 16 of This Is The Way, the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. I do know that the lights are reflecting in the screen, I think probably over here and over here. Maybe adds a little bit to the atmosphere here, but thank you guys so much for joining me if you haven't been to the channel before. My name is Kyle, this is my channel, Project Potter. We do reviews, we do video game stuff, we do group reviews, a whole bunch of other content, but this show specifically is focusing on The Mandalorian. These are like quick speed reviews, so it's going to be like 10 or 12 minutes, sometimes longer, just to kind of go over each episode and give it a score. So for this one, just a quick recap. We start off, of course, we remember we're going after Grogu, we're trying to get Baby Yoda back. At the end of last episode, Mando sent Moff Gideon that message. He's like, you have something I want. I'm like, I will do anything, whatever it takes to get him back. So they're in Boba's ship, because if you remember, Mando's ship got blown up by Moff Gideon, so he's got to roll with Boba for now, which is never a bad thing. But they're going to, they know where Moff Gideon is. We actually started the episode with Boba taking out what I always call like Darth Vader's ship, because they look the same, but it's like that cool like ship there that Vader always lands in. Which is like pretty standard, I guess, across the Empire, but those ships always look cool. Boba's like takes out. They're traveling with the scientist guy from season 1 that Mando let live. He's the one that was like scanning Baby Yoda for his blood and his data. So that they've got that guy. He's like a high target. But basically, Boba takes over the ship. He's like prepared to be boarded. There's an awesome sequence where like the I forget Boba Fett's ship's name. I might edit that in. But it comes up, and then it just like attaches on to the top there. The guy's like, he basically takes the doctor hostage. He's like, you're not going to take him. And there's actually a cool little scene here, a cool line where he mentions like, I was on the Death Star, and they're laughing about like, oh, which one? And he's like, you laugh now, but he's like, millions of people died on that Death Star. He's like, I don't think you understand, like, you guys are the terrorists. And I was like, oh, that's such a cool way to look at it, because like we always think like the evil Empire and they're the bad guys, and of course like Luke and Leia and Han and Chewie, and like they're the good guys, of course, and we're rooting for them. And when the Death Star blows up the first time and the second time, it's like, oh good, we took down the Empire and the Emperor, and like the Empire's done. But what you don't think about it is like the realistic portion of that, which is like, yeah, there are people, yes, they decided to join the Empire, but a lot of them probably didn't have a choice. They were probably forced into it, or they were just looking to make a living. A lot of innocent people died on that, just doing their job on the Death Stars. And I was like, wow, I never thought of it like that. So it's just a different perspective on the galaxy, and maybe it's not as black and white as we think it is. So that was cool. The Mando music comes in. The Mando music is just like hype music now, dude. Every time it comes in, it's just like, let's go, let's do this thing. Like, we're going after Baby Yoda. We get a quick scene where Boba and Mando go to, I think, back to Tatooine. And then they go and recruit, or pick up, I guess, Gina Carano's character and the girl, I keep forgetting the name of, the bounty hunter, or the sniper from season 1. That's like their group now. It's the 4 of them. So they're like, hey, he took the child. Let's go. And then there's a quick bit where she's looking at Boba Fett, and she's like, oh, I didn't know. I don't know. She's like talking shit about Mandalore. And he's like, no, Mandalore is done. She's like, listen, you're just a clone. She's like, I've heard your voice a million times. She's like, your father made you. And that was cool, because it's like, she's not wrong, dude. Boba Fett is like, that belonged to my father. She's like, like your master, because he is your father technically, but he did make you. So that's a cool little bit. I don't want to get too much into that. But basically they all get together. They're like, all right, this is the plan. They're like, Boba, you're gonna distract them, and then we're just gonna literally like take the ship that we've they've confiscated from those guys who had the doctor, and we are just gonna like go right in there and just like basically like raw dog it right into the entrance there, the opening, which is super super cool. So like they go up there, Boba's like, I'll put on a show. They're going through hyperspace, and there were some of the shots in this episode through hyperspace where like I could not believe how good it looked. I was like, this looked better than some of the shots in like The Last Jedi, which I think has some of those beautiful shots in the series. And I know Rise of Skywalker was a mess. It's a nightmare story-wise, but it has some incredibly good-looking shots. This was like right up there with them. Or I thought a couple of the scenes in this episode I thought looked even better than the movies at some point. So hats off to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and everyone who worked on this series this season, because it's felt like a whole new show, and it's felt like closer to the movie counterparts than like a spin-off. The budget has increased for season 2, and the production value is way up. It really shows, and it's we'll go into a little bit more, but like the way this episode ends and where it's going, like it's so much more than just a spin-off show now, I think. So that part's all awesome. Yeah, that scene. So Boba's like shooting against the ship, Moff Gideon's ship there, and then like the ship, the Vader ship, we're gonna call it. It just like it closes the wings, but it's like they're coming in hot, and it closes the wings, and it like skids into the ship. That's really cool. I don't think we've seen that in Star Wars before, like to board a ship. We've seen like in Rogue One where they have like the Imperial codes and they try to get on and all sorts of things like that. Or I think in maybe in Empire Strikes Back as well. Sorry, my Star Wars memory right now is fading, but sadly. But yeah, they get in there, and then it's just like a battle. Mando ends up splitting up. There's an awesome scene where Moff Gideon's like, activate the Dark Troopers. And then Mando goes up against one of them. They're like coming out, and he's like, no. He tries to like close the door, and then like the door slowly closes, and they're like kind of stuck. One of them, there's like a cool, almost like a horror scene where like one of them puts the hands in there and like rips the door open. The door keeps closing. But one of them gets out. Mando is going up against him, and it's just like he is just completely outmatched. There's a scene where the dark trooper like punches him, like cocks back and punches him in the face like 5 or 6 times, and it was just brutal. Great sound design and great visual design there, because like you could feel every punch, and oof. And Mando doesn't seem too fazed by this, so I think his armor is really holding up, but they pack more than their handful of punches there. Those dark troopers, and they're obviously not like humans, so they are machines. So they're a little more indestructible than your typical stormtrooper there, to say the least. So Mando's completely outmatched. He even does like the flamethrower, and then the machine just keeps going. He does get like kind of a lucky kill where he gets the spear that he just got and shoves it up through the neck, and he takes down one. But it like took everything he had just to take down one of these dark troopers. There's like 15 other ones. Mando does send them through the airlock, so they go out into space. And this was the first like issue I had in the finale where I was like, oh, that was dumb. Where I was like, the Dark Troopers have been like hyped up, and the only other time we saw them was when they went down and got Baby Yoda and then went back up, but we didn't see them in combat. And like, it's so cool. There's like, I don't know if it was like Skrillex or it was like some kind of like nasty music that they had playing when he activated the Dark Troopers, and it like shows them like stepping out, and the lighting is awesome, and then like the red eyes. But like there was such a hype, and then I was like, oh, and then he's just gonna get sucked out of the airlock. I was like, they're not gonna fly back immediately, but they do eventually come back. So that was like the one huge glaring issue I had with the episode, and then it corrected itself later on. So I was very happy to see that. But yeah, eventually Mando, after taking out the Dark Trooper, he runs into Moff Gideon. He finds the child there. He's got like the Dark Blade to Baby Yoda's like throat, I guess, or like he's like he could kill him at any point. Little Baby Yoda's got like the handcuffs on there, which is cute. But Gideon goes into this big thing where he basically he's like the audience, not the audience member, but he's the one who tells the audience everything in this episode. Where he's like, oh, let me explain the entire plot to you right now, Mando. So he's like, this is the Dark Blade. He's like, ooh, it's neat, isn't it? We do get a quick line earlier where one of the other soldiers, I can't remember who it is, but they tell Mando like the Darksaber can cut through anything except one thing, Beskar steel, like pure Beskar steel, which luckily Mando is what he's wearing. So Moff Gideon, he's like, there's a cool line, and put Giancarlo Esposito in everything, please. He's so good. Gus Fring is back. His acting is just another level, and he really showcases it in this episode. He's like, hey, I know you fired all your weapons, and he's like, hey, word of advice, like, I know everything. And I was like, oh, that's a cool little one-up that Moff Gideon's given Mando right there. But he's like, hey, I've got the Darksaber. I know she's coming for it. He's like, I got what I want. We already got his blood. We got Baby Yoda's blood. He's like, you know what? You take the child. I can see your connection. He's like, and then just leave my ship. And I was like, oh, dude, I don't believe this for a second. Obviously, Moff Gideon is not just going to let him go. So that was like an obvious twist there, because as soon as he goes to take the child, Moff like goes and throws the Darksaber at him, and Mando blocks it. Luckily, he's got the armor. Mando actually defeats him in combat, takes the Darksaber, and then like puts the handcuffs on Moff Gideon. He's got Baby Yoda back, so we're thinking all is well, but there's still 20 minutes left in the episode, and I was like, oh, okay, like, I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the episode, because, like, that was the mission, but obviously there's going to be something coming back. So they go over to the bridge, because Moff Gideon's like, I know that the other warriors are on the bridge, and they're looking for me. They've killed everyone because of murderous savages, and I was like, again, not wrong. Mando's not quite like that. He doesn't kill unless he has to, so... he brings Moff Gideon back to the bridge, and he's got the Darksaber, and they're like, oh, here you go, I got Moff Gideon for you. And then Moff Gideon, like, is on the ground, and he says, like, he basically explains the whole story again. Bo-Katan is looking for the Darksaber, so Mando's like, here you go, this is all yours. And Moff Gideon's, like, on the floor, and he's like, nah, that's not how it works, dude. He's like, the only way you can get the Darksaber, and the Darksaber is used to, like, rule Mandalore, which is why she wants it. He's like, you have to win it in battle. And Mando's like, no, dude, just take the saber. And she's like, I can't do that. And it's like, now, it's interesting because Moff Gideon says, like, the power comes from, like, you winning it in combat. I would have been really interested to see if, like, her taking the saber and trying to wield it, but, like, it not working or it not igniting. Or if it's just, like a mythological, like, you could use the saber, but you shouldn't be doing that because you didn't win it. So, I don't know. It's an interesting little thing. It reminded me of kind of, like how, I don't know, lightsabers are not like this anymore. So maybe like a Harry Potter thing where it's like the wand chooses the wizard. I think something like that. It was cool though. But basically Moff Gideon was like, hey, if you want that Darksaber, you now have to defeat Mando in combat. And Mando's like, I'm not going to fight you in combat, dude. What does that mean? Could they have had like a little fake fight where she just wins it? I don't know. But it was a cool little touch because she can't just like take the Darksaber. But this is when they get like a notification that they're being boarded, and then all of the Dark Troopers are coming back, they're flying in, and I was like, yes, dude, thank you, because like these guys are so awesome. Mando had to really struggle to take out one of them. Now there's like 20 of them coming back, if not more. And then Moff Gideon's like smiling because like they're trapped in the bridge now, but he's like, yeah, but you may have taken out one Dark Trooper, but he's like, you're not going to take out 20 of them. He's like, they're going to come here. And he's like, they're trapped in the bridge, they seal up the doors, and he's like, everyone in this room is going to be dead except for me and the child. And I was like, damn, dude. And I had chills like this whole episode. But things are really ramping up here. Like, so well made. But, Moff is there. He's like, this is my plan all along. Like, once the Dark Troopers are activated, like, I'm Gucci. And so he's like, you have an impressive firing squad, but it's not going to matter. And then we're thinking to ourselves, like, like, I don't know what's going to happen here. But, like, the Dark Troopers come in, and then, like, they're just, like, punching, like, the breach doors or the bridge doors. And it's just a matter of time before they break through, and it looks like they're all but done for. And then we get a notification of we see a shot of an X-Wing go by. And I'm like, oh, are they about to do it? And then they go, okay, X-Wing. She's like, X-Wing, identify yourself. No response. And I'm like, dude, I was like, are you kidding me? What's about to happen right now? X-Wing goes in there, and then we see the Jedi robes. And then we see the green lightsaber, and I lost my shit. I'm telling you, I freaked out. My jaw was on the floor. I said wow out loud so many times. I'm not someone who's like very easily impressed. Like, I'm not usually like shocked at content, especially with like Star Wars. It's hard to shock me. I love like the hype moments of Star Wars, but like, guys, this was the most excited I think I've ever been watching any Star Wars content. I could not believe the events that transpired. So we see Luke, and he just wrecks. Every single Dark Trooper on here is not even a match to him. He's got the lightsaber out. The only thing I wish they would have done is played Luke's theme. I don't know if they could have done that, but like they played like kind of like the Mandalorian theme, except it was like a little remixed. It was cool. It sounded good, but like that was like the one thing I think was missing. It was like Luke's theme would have been amazing. But Luke just wrecks everyone. He's like using the Force to like take him out. They don't have a single chance. It's so cool. There are rumors that we were gonna get Luke or Han or someone big. I did not think that we were gonna get Luke in the finale. There's one awesome scene where he like takes everyone out, then he goes up the elevator to like the top floor, and that's where they're all right in front of the door there. And it's cool because Baby Yoda, they're like watching on the screen, and he's just absolutely wrecking shop. And there's my favorite one was when he's like using the Force on one of the Dark Troopers, and the Dark Trooper, like he holds his hand up and it's like shaking, and you can see the Force around it, and it can barely move, and it's kind of shooting, and then he just like crushes it with the Force, and I was like, oh my god, that was cool. Luke opens the door, so he takes everyone out, and I'm like, what they're probably gonna do is have Luke take everyone out. It's gonna be a teaser. We're not gonna see his face. He's gonna get in his X-wing. He's gonna go away, and they're gonna be like, "Who was that?" And they're like, "I don't know." And then like next year or next season, they're gonna figure it out. But we got all of that and more. I couldn't believe it. So Luke comes through. He shows up, and I was like, "Are they gonna show his face?" And then he takes the Jedi hood off, and this, I don't know how well you guys can see that. A perfect recreation of the Return of the Jedi Luke. I don't even know how they did that. I don't know how the technology exists. It looks exactly like it, sounds exactly like him. I don't know what they did, because I was like a little worried about CGI. I was like, if they show Luke, is it gonna be too much? Is it gonna look weird? He's the most iconic character in the franchise. Like you don't want it to look weird. Oh my god. Looks so perfect. I don't know how they did that. Technology is crazy these days, so they probably went to Return of the Jedi, and I'm sure they like copied it or they did somehow, but it looked all amazing. We get a great scene where Luke is like, he's like, hey, I need to take the child, and like an amazing sequence where Mando like finally lifts up his helmet and shows Baby Yoda his face for the first time. It's a really emotional scene, actually. I found myself like on the verge of tears the whole time. And he's like, hey buddy, like, I gotta let you go. And we're like, wow, like Mando finally, not only does he get his helmet off in front of other living people for the first time, that's how much he loves Baby Yoda. He's willing to show his face to other people. He's willing to break his code to show his face. I'm still of the belief that I wish that he didn't take his helmet off until this point. I wish we didn't see him in the first season with IG-11. And I wish we did not see him last episode in front of the stormtroopers, because those two moments took away from this moment. I think this would have been incredible if we hadn't seen Pedro Pascal's face for 2 seasons, and then the first time we see it, it's like a slow, like dramatic reveal. But because we've seen his face already 2 times, I was like, we just saw this last week. Like it's a nice moment, and this is the first time Baby Yoda has seen his face, but like, I just was like, man, this could have been so much more. That's really like my one very small critique of this series, really. But that's a really heart-wrenching moment. He gives it over to Luke. And then when this moment happened, I was thinking, like, when Yoda says that there is another in Empire Strikes Back, I believe, or maybe Return of the Jedi. I'm sorry. I swear I know more Star Wars than this. I can't think straight right now. Probably because my brain is in a million pieces from watching this episode. But when Yoda says before he dies, there is another, we all think he's referring to another Skywalker. But was he referring to another Yoda? Was he referring to Baby Yoda? Probably not. That's more of a fan theory, but like that kind of is something I connected in my head like immediately, and I was like, I mean, look at this, guys. And I thought about getting this shot or another shot when he's got the lightsaber out and he's like just wrecking people. He's a Jedi Master. I mean, it's so cool. It's like I said, I can't decide. The Vader scene from Rogue One up to this point was the coolest thing I've ever seen in Star Wars. This might be better. I think this is better. I'm not sure yet. Because the Vader scene is so good, but this was very similar to that. But he takes Baby Yoda. There's like a sad scene, and just so many questions because it looks like it belongs. Like Luke and Baby Yoda, we get R2. R2D2 comes in. There's an adorable scene where Baby Yoda and R2 gives him like the approval. And I was like, guys, I need a spin-off series with R2D2 and Baby Yoda. Like, give me that. But yeah, we don't know, like, I don't know what's going to happen. Because Luke is going to train Baby Yoda. But like, is that going to happen off screen? Are we going to see that next? I'm sure we're going to get some glimpse of that next season. But this show has been built on Mando and Baby Yoda for 2 seasons. So now that Mando has given him up, are we going to have like 1 half episode next season where he gets Baby Yoda back? Or is it just going to follow Luke now? The show's called The Mandalorian, so I'm assuming we're following Mando. I don't know. There's so many questions I have. What is Mando's mission now? What is he going to do? His job was to bring him back to his people. Well, now he has to give him to Luke to train. So many questions. The cool, again, guys, one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Like, I had full body chills. My jaw was on the floor. I couldn't believe it. I had my hands on my head, just like in complete disbelief that like this was happening. So, super, super cool. And then I just want to touch on a post-credit scene, which I almost skipped over because I was just about to exit the Disney Plus app, and I just happened to have the credits on, just kind of like looking at my phone and stuff. And then all of a sudden the post-credit scene come up. I don't know if there's been other post-credit scenes. I haven't watched them. If there has been, I've usually just hit end after the credits come up. Boba Fett series coming next December. That's going to be so freaking cool. That might even be cooler than Mandalorian. We'll see. Boba Fett is amazing again. So I don't know where that's going to go, but this whole time period between end of Return of the Jedi and beginning of Force Awakens, again, is so cool, and I'm so glad we're finally exploring that because there's so many untold stories that we just don't know what happened in that time frame. And like now that they have the original trilogy and they have the sequel trilogy, they can just like connect that. And it might be like a Rogue One where they're gonna make the sequel trilogy better. They're gonna like Rogue One made New Hope better, which is so cool. It came out 40 years after New Hope, and like now New Hope is better because of Rogue One, because of the connecting tissue there. So like it's super cool that they're gonna like mess with this space there. Again, I don't know if we're gonna spend a lot of time with Luke next year. There's been a lot of talk of Sebastian Stan, who plays Bucky Barnes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as Luke. I think he'd be a great fit. He looks a lot like young Luke. But this is so perfect with the recreation that I don't know, like, I'm assuming they can't do that for a full like season or even a couple episodes, but I don't know what they're going to do. It's now that we have Luke, we have Boba Fett, we have Mando. It's like, I think Boba is probably done in this series now because he sits down. He's kind of ruling over Tatooine now, and he's going to have the Book of Boba Fett. So that's cool. I think that's kind of like his conclusion in this series. Similar to how we saw like Ahsoka Tano, Rosario Dawson, and now she's getting her own series. So many cool things. This episode to me, this went from a spin-off show to like, oh, this is where Star Wars belongs. Yes, you still want to have the big movies, if they can correct it. I mean, I love the sequel trilogy, but I understand that it has a lot of issues, and I would much rather have a tight-knit story like this. This show, season 1, I was like, I don't know if Mandalorian's going to have staying power. It feels kind of low budget. I think the way season 2 has gone, and I'm sure they're getting like great critical success through season 2. The budget, I'm sure, is only going to increase. Hopefully, like, the COVID stuff is almost over. I know the vaccine's going out there now. Hopefully we can get back to some sort of normal life soon. And then like studios will have more money, and there's gonna be more time, and the working environments will be better, and like the sky is the limit for this show now, because it's like this is no longer just a spin-off series. This is now not only canon Star Wars, but like a huge part of Star Wars, and like this is where Star Wars can thrive in like the smaller stories. It doesn't have to be just the movies. It can be like all these like, you know, little stories to tell, and like you're taking iconic characters, you're introducing new characters, and like they can play such a bigger role. And it's like when Boba Fett came back, it was a hype moment. Like when Ahsoka Tano came out, a character I didn't really care about too much before, like that was a hype moment. And it's like Luke is always just like one of the most iconic characters in film history. So yeah, I mean, so good. I can't say enough good things about this. This is like a dumbed down version. If I recorded this right after I rolled the credits, it would have been like a lot more high energy, so I've kind of dumbed it down a little bit to speak about it. But yeah, I mean, so good. 10 out of 10, obviously, for score. If I could give it a higher score, I would. A 10 almost doesn't do it justice. This is the best episode of The Mandalorian. This is pretty much a perfect Star Wars piece of content. Like I said, my one big critique was when the Dark Troopers got sucked out of space, and I thought we were going towards like another Princess Leia moment where she gets sucked into space and then Mary Poppins floats back. I thought they were going to mess that up, but no, they corrected it. They come back. They had a little suspense in there by like forgetting about it for 10 minutes and then coming back. And man, guys, that Luke sequence is like, I still can't believe that I just watched that. I can't believe that was created and how well it was done. And it wasn't like Tarkin in Rogue One where like they tried to do a CGI and you're like, oh, this is too much and it doesn't look great. It's so important to nail Luke. As he's the most iconic character. This Star Wars does not work without Luke. And I know it's the cast of characters. I know it's Luke and Han and Chewie. That original trilogy, that original cast is what made it so great, and Lando, and that's what set the series off. But it starts and ends with Luke, and like I will never get tired of seeing Luke on film, whether it's older Luke in the new sequel trilogy, but I mean, this is Luke in his prime, and it's so cool. I cannot believe that I just witnessed what I just witnessed. And it's really, like I said, up there with the Vader scene from Rogue One. This may take the cake, but I'll have to think on it and see. But this is so awesome. So hats off to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and everyone at Mandalorian for crushing this season and really like taking the show to new heights. And like, I cannot wait to see where it goes. For season 3, it's going to be a long year to wait. And I don't know, are we going to get Baby Yoda now? Like, is he just not part of the show now? I don't know. He's become such a phenomenon from the second episode on, and like I don't know. I mean, he's going with Luke now, so I don't know. The show's not called Luke; it's called Mandalorian. So we'll see. But yeah, cannot wait for next Christmas. I think is when season 3 is coming out. So it's a long wait, but it's going to be worth the wait for sure. And they're setting the bar so high now that it's going to be tough for them to top it. But I think that they have the resources and they're finding their groove. And as long as they have a story written out and they can execute it, then I think we're in very good hands, to say the least. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me for season 2 of This Is the Way. That's a wrap for season 2. So. We will continue the show in about a year from now, so it's going to be a long wait, but thank you guys so much for joining. I've had a great time watching season 2 and reviewing these episodes. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're new to the channel, go check out the other content on there. We do have other Star Wars content. I did not finish the original. This is the review you've been looking for. I think Phantom Menace is the last one, so I am going to get back to that sooner rather than later. We'll wrap that up, and I kind of have a new sense of motivation to go back and rewatch the old movies as well now. So until next time, guys, this is the way.